related to data structures and the first main concept of data structure, that is stacks in C programming language. Okay, so let's start with today's class. This is what we have discussed earlier. That is some of the data structures which we use are examples of data structures which we use in C programming language. Major data structures which are related to any programming language are linked lists and trees. But before linked lists and trees, we must know what are stacks, queues, and arrays. Okay, we have already discussed arrays. Some of the concepts like matrices in arrays and all I'll discuss as soon as possible. But if we know one-dimensional array, if we know all the concepts of one-dimensional array, it is very easy to understand stacks in the programming language. So let's see how we can implement or how we can understand stacks, how we can write programs on stacks, and how stacks can be used in data structure. So first thing is, what are stacks, or what is a stack in data structure? So stack is again a data structure which is used to store the data in an organized manner. That is the definition of stacks which we come across. Okay, stack is nothing but a data structure which is used to store the data. Data is nothing but any values which we store, or any characters, or any group of characters which we store in each memory block, where each memory block are connected to one another. That means they are continuous or consecutive memory blocks. Okay, so like arrays, stack is also data structure, and we can use that data structure for storing the data. Okay, so now why we use stacks and what is the difference between stacks and other data structures? So let's see. This is an example of here. This is an example of an array with some elements here. This is how we have discussed arrays. That means all the memory blocks are continuous or consecutive memory blocks. That means they are almost connected to one another. How we can say they are connected to one another? Because the address which is assigned to all the memory blocks here is consecutive or continuous address. So that is how arrays look like. See, stack is nothing but stack is the alternative version of an array, where looks like this. Instead of representing array in this manner, if we represent the same array in this manner, it is called as stack, or it looks like this stack exactly. And you can observe here, first thing, all the elements are there in stack also. So we are comparing array and a stack here. Stack is a vertical representation of an array, we can say. That is not the definition, that is just for our understanding. Stack is the vertical representation of an array here, and stack is also an array itself. Okay, stack is also an array, but it is the vertical representation of the array. You can compare, you can see the same diagram here, but it is vertically represented. And you can see the index values, even the memory blocks which are connected to one another. Only thing is, first memory blocks is the bottommost memory block of stack. In the last memory block is the topmost memory block of the stack. Because it is vertically represented, we come across these words, bottom and top of stack. Okay, and each memory block, like arrays, each memory block will be having its own index value. You can observe here 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, like array, each memory block can store a value or an element or a data like this. Same thing. Here the array name is A. Here we call this as a stack. Though it is an array, vertical representation of array, we call it as stack here, and the name of the stack is A itself. So this is what stack is. Stack is a data structure which is used to store the data in an organized manner. Now you may ask how the data here is stored in an organized manner. It doesn't mean that data must be always in a, or the values, because the values I'm storing here should be always in ascending or descending order. That is not the meaning, exact meaning of organized manner. It is sometimes we store the data according to some other data, related to some other data. So that is how we can say it as organized manner. Even in arrays, we store the data in an organized manner. That doesn't mean that the data must be always in ascending or descending order. Okay. Now, this is what we call stack. Stack looks like this, and the first memory block of the stack is this one. First memory block of the stack is this one. Last memory block of the stack is this particular memory block. Stack is also called as one entry, one exit data structure. That means I'll say this: one entry, one exit data structure. Whatever the data which we add or remove. See, we haven't come across a concept called as removing the element from the array. Is it correct? We have only stored the elements into the array. Till now, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರೇ ಒಳಗಡೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ನ ಬರೀ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲೂ ನಾವು ಅರೇಯಿಂದ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ನ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ in arrays, if I have to remove all the data, I have to start with the first data itself. Without removing the first data, I cannot go to the second one or third one or fourth one. Okay, so that is what the problem with arrays. Here also in stacks, I can store the values one by one within the stack, like 17, 18, 26, 27 and 7. Okay, one by one. But all the data which I store and all the data which I remove from the stack are operated from only one end, or we can say this is the entry and this also acts as the exit of the stack here. Okay, so name of the stack, index value of each memory block of the stack, and the values which are stored in the stack here. So this is the exact representation of stacks in data structure. Like arrays, array itself, if it is vertically represented, it becomes stack. But there are many special features which are available in stack which is not there in arrays. See, arrays is very basic version of data structure. We can say it's a very basic version of data structure. Tumba basic version arrays. Stack and other data structures like queues, linked lists, trees are updated version of arrays. And they have their own special features. ಅವುಗಳದೇ special feature ಇರುತ್ತೆ stack ಅಥವಾ queues ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆ data structures ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So here in stack there are some important features which we have to come across, or which we have to see, that I'll show you people. So as I said earlier, stack looks like this. Here, instead of taking A as the name of the stack, here I'm taking name itself as stack. Stack ಅಂತಾನೆ ನೇಮ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಈ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಅರೇಗೆ, ವರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅರೇಗೆ. See, you can even call it as an array here. Okay, it's not mandatory that you have to call it as stack, but because it consists of, or it has some special features, we'll call it as stack. Okay, instead of taking name A here, stack name A ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರ ಬದಲು stack name ನ stack ಅಂತಾನೆ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. I'm taking the name of stack itself. Okay, name as stack itself. Same thing, continuous memory blocks are there. Each memory block has its own index value. Okay, ಅದರದೇ own index value ಇದೆ. The memory block which has 0 as index value is considered as first memory block of the stack. The memory block which has index value stack size -1. What is the size of the stack here? It is nothing but it is same as array size. What is the size of the array? Array size ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ತುಂಬಾ ಸರಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ. If I write int a of 5, what is the meaning of a of 5? 5 represents size of the array. I'm creating an array called as a, and 5 represents size of the array. If the first index value is 0, last index value of the array must be array size -1. What is this array size? 5. 5 minus 1, that is 4. Same thing is applied in stack also. Stack is created using array. Okay, and even when I declare stack, I declare it as it in the form of array itself. That we'll see later. Right now, imagine this is a stack here with group of memory blocks. How many memory blocks? 5 memory blocks. with group of 5 memory blocks, and these are the index values of the stack. Now, next thing is how to store elements within the stack. Now, I'll already pictorially, if in this diagram I have already shown you that there are elements which are already stored either in arrays or in stack. We know how to store elements in an array. Is it correct? ಯಾವ ತರ store ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ array elements na? Using for loop, or you can declare and initialize an array at the same time, or you can ask the user to enter the values and read those values and store those values in an array. How to store the values in an array? You have to use for loop. Okay, same thing here. Stack here, instead of going for loop, or instead of using for loop directly to store the elements, see, ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ 17 store ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, or if I have to store any value in the first memory block, what should be the condition I have to, or how should I store that value? So let's see, before we discuss how to store the data or elements into the stack, let's discuss first line of this code. I have written some group of lines here. Let's call it as a code. Okay, what is the first line of the code? Int stack of 5. Stack is called as name of the array. I'm creating an array. Array name enu stack anta. What is the size of the array? 5. Size of the array is 5. So computer automatically creates array like this. Okay, array like this. Name of the array is stack. Size is 5. But because for our understanding, I'm representing the same array in the form of stack. In the vertical representation ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ನಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. Okay, even horizontal is also okay. There is no problem. For our understanding, I'm representing this array as in a vertical format because I have to explain stack here, how stack works. Okay. Apart from this, I'm declaring a variable called as int top. Okay. Remember, whenever we discuss about stacks, stack ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ discuss ಮಾಡ್ತೀವೋ, whenever we use stack, we'll use a major variable. We'll use one of the major variable. That variable is called as top. Remember, okay? So int top, integer variable I have created. Okay, top equals -1. I am writing. So what happens when I write this line? Top equals -1. A memory block is created called as top, and -1 will be stored in that particular memory block. Now you may ask, why we have to use top here? Top ಏನಕ್ಕೆ use ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? Top on a variable. Now what is the use of this variable top? How it is related to stack and all? I'll show you how it is related right now. Okay. Now after this, just observe this line here, this particular line. So top is pointing to a value called as -1 according to us, because I am storing top is equal to -1. Remember, if I have to store any value in these memory blocks of this stack, I have to use a variable called as top. Without using this variable, I cannot store any value in these memory blocks. Okay, that's why we use a variable called as top here. That's why we use a variable called as top. Top ಅನ್ನೋ variable ನ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, stack ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ memory blocks ಅಲ್ಲಿ values ನ store ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ we use a variable called as top. Okay, it's not same as arrays, because in arrays we don't use any variable called as top. We directly store the elements using for loop. But here in stack, we are going to store elements using a variable called as top. Now you may ask how it can be possible. So right now imagine that top has a value called as -1. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, as I said earlier, we are going to insert the values. We are going to take out the values from the same end here, but we have to use top. Okay, don't think that the values will be inserted from this particular part. Okay, this is just for our representation. There will be only one entry, one exit in this particular stack. Now hope you have understood these 3 lines here and creation of this stack and this particular memory block. Now our important concept is how to store values here. If I have to store 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, how to store them in this particular stack. So let's see. Observe these lines. I'm going to explain this. Okay, I'm declaring a variable. See, apart from these, Apart from these three lines, I'm declaring a variable called as element. So I'm writing int element. Okay. As soon as I write element here, int element, a memory block gets created. A memory block gets created. Name of the memory block will be element. Okay. What I'm going to do is, after that, I'm going to write this line, printf enter value for stack. Andre stack alli store ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ first value na ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ. To whom? To the user. I'm asking the user enter first value for stack or enter the value to be stored within the stack, something like that. Enter value for stack. By seeing this line, user is going to enter some value. Okay. How to where to store that value? See, stack ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರೋ value, if user enters 17 here, if user wants to store 17 in the first memory block of the stack, I cannot store that 17 directly within this particular memory block. What I have to do is, first I have to read the value entered by the user. From that variable, I have to store that value within this particular memory block. I hope you have understood. See, I'll show you. Element and memory block create agide. Okay. So enter the value for stack and the ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. When user enters some particular value, read that value and store that value within the particular memory block. So value entered by the user will be stored here. Now, actually, this value should be stored in which memory block? First memory block of the stack. But because I cannot directly store the value directly within the stack here, what I am going to do is, I'm reading that value and storing that value in a individual memory or for that within stack. Now, how it is possible? So let's see how it is possible. Hope you have understood these three lines here. See these three lines. After that, these three lines I'm explaining. I have explained. So we have created a variable called as element. We have stored value. We have asked the user to enter some value. We have stored that value within this particular place. Now what I am going to do is, to store this 17 in this particular memory block, of course I need an index value of the memory block. Okay. To store this 17 which is stored in this particular memory block, to store that from here to here, I need index value of the first memory block. To get the index value, what I'm going to write is, I'm going to write this particular line, top plus plus. All of you, I want all of you to concentrate on this line here, top plus plus. See, earlier I had written top is equal to -1. Is it correct? The value of the variable top is -1 earlier. Now what I am doing is, I'm writing top plus plus. Top plus plus anta bardaga what happens? Why we use increment operators? Increment operators increments the value of a variable by 1. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ -1 ಇರೋ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಟಾಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟಾಪ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಏನಾಗಬಹುದು? So it has to be incremented by 1. So if -1 is incremented by 1, it becomes 0. The value of top becomes 0. Hope you have understood what I am doing here. Top plus plus ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ -1 ಇದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ? 0 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. What is the use, or why we are doing this? Why we are incrementing the value of top from -1 to 0? See, first value which I am trying to store, the first value 17 which I am trying to store, is to be stored in the 0th index value of the stack or first memory block, and the index value of first memory block is 0. Clear? See, to access this value 0, or to get this 0 value, I'm going to use a variable called as top. Top value initially ಏನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ? -1 ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ನ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಅದ್ರ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? 0 ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀನಿ? We are going to write top plus plus. When I write top plus plus, value of top becomes 0 here. What is the advantage of making value of top equals 0? Next line is the advantage. So check the next line here. So imagine I have already made top is equal to 0 by writing top plus plus. What is the meaning of this line now? I want you people to analyze this. What is the meaning of this particular line which I have written? Stack andre array name. Okay, array name. Okay, stack andre no array name. Stack of top. Okay. Hope you remember whenever we write a of 1 or a of 2 or a of 3 or a of I, how it will be understood by the computer. When I write stack of top here, stack ಅನ್ನೋ array ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ತಗೊಂತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಆ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ಯಾವ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? ಟಾಪ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಟು ದ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಟಾಪ್. it goes to a memory block called as top. It gets the value of that particular memory block. What is the value of this particular memory block? That is 0. So 0 will be brought back here. Top will be replaced by 0. So computer understands it as stack of 0. Stack of 0. What is stack? Stack is an array or vertical representation of an array, or it is a stack itself. Okay. Stack of 0. Which memory block? Stack of 0. Which memory block? This particular memory block. A stack of 0 ಒಳಗಡೆ, what it is going to store? Assignment operator. Element. Stack of top equals element. What is the value which is stored at the element? That is entered by the user, 17. Okay. That 17 will be assigned, see, from right to left. That 17 will be assigned to the left side of the code. What is the left side? Stack of top. Stack of, what is the value of top? 0. Stack of 0. Stack of 0 on the stack of 0. Our memory block ali yen store agate value of the element. What is the value of the element? 17. So 17 will be stored in the first memory block. So now I think you might have got the idea. I mean, why we have to use the variable called as top. Top on a variable ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಬಂದಿದೆ probably now, or I don't know. Okay, I'll repeat it. If I have to store any value within a stack ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನೇ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, first thing is I need a variable called as top. Okay, I need a variable called as top, and initial value of top variable is always -1. Top ಒಳಗಡೆ always initially ಏನು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ? -1 ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ. Okay. Now you may ask why we have to always store -1 within top. Why not 0? I can directly see. You may ask this. Instead of writing top plus plus, I can easily store top is equal to 0, then write this line. Is it correct? So some of you may get this doubt. Instead of writing top is equal to -1 here, I can directly write top is equal to 0. I'll create a variable, ask the user to enter some value, store that value within the variable element. Instead of writing top plus plus, I can directly write stack of top is equal to element. Aವಾಗ top ಅಲ್ಲಿ 0 ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ stack of 0 element direct store ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. But there is some condition for which I am writing stack of top is equal to -1 instead of writing stack of top is equal to 0. Okay, sorry. There is some constraint. Because of that, I am writing top is equal to -1, not top is equal to 0. Okay, so hope you have understood these lines here. You know, I cannot directly store here in stacks, directly store the element within the stack. What I have to do is I have to first store the value within a particular variable. From that variable, I have to store the value within the stack, within a particular memory block of the stack. That is what these lines are. Now, why we have to write top is equal to -1? Remember, if the top value of top, this particular variable, is -1, that indicates that, okay, before that, once I store 17, if I have to store 18 in the next memory block, I can again run the same code here. I can again run the same code. Okay, ಇದೇ ಕೋಡ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, enter the value for stack ಅಂತ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. If user enters some other value, for example 18 ಅಂತ enter ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, that 18 will be stored in a variable called as element. Second time ನಾ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. Okay, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ see, already the value of top is 0. ಅಂದ್ರೆ top ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ. Earlier it was pointing to -1. After adding 17, top will be pointing to which index value? 0th index value. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ top ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 0 ಇದೆ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 18 ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಯಾವ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಬೇಕು? ಟಾಪ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ 0 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, 0 ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಈ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಟಾಪ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯಾವ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? 1 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಈಸಿಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ 18. ಹೌ? ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಇಫ್ ಐ ರೈಟ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ನೌ, 18 ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಫ್ ಐ ರೈಟ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್, value of top 0 ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? It becomes -1. Value of top from 0 it becomes 1. Value of top becomes 1. That means top which was pointing to 0 earlier now starts pointing to 1. Now what is the advantage of writing top plus plus? Next line ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ stack of top value ಏನಾಗಿದೆ? 1 ಆಗಿದೆ. stack of top ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ stack of 1. stack of 1, which memory block? This particular memory block. Adru ಒಳಗಡೆ element alliro element ಅನ್ನೋ variable alliro value store ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. For example, if 18 is stored in the second run, so 18 will be stored here. Similarly, you can keep on storing the values like 19 by incrementing top to the next index value. I can store 19 here, 20, 21, where when I store 21, top will be pointing to this particular index value. Okay, this particular index value. So this is how you have to store elements in the stack. Unlike arrays ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆದ್ರೆ for loop ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, for loop ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ array name ಮತ್ತೆ index value ತಗೊಂಡು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ. But here in stacks we don't directly store values within the stack. We have some procedure we have to use here, a variable called as top. Using top itself, I have to store all the elements within the stack. Now, sometimes whenever, okay, now my question is, if the value of top is -1, of course top will not be pointing to any index values. Is it correct? If the value of top is -1, of course top will not be pointing to any index values of the array or stack here. If top is not pointing to any index value, that means it should be -1. If it is -1, we can say that there are no values stored in the stack. Stack values yav tara store ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? Of course, using a variable called as top itself. Top na increment ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ. Increment ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೂ stack memory blocks ಅಲ್ಲಿ values na store ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಟಾಪ್ ನ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ತರ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಟಾಪ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ತರ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಇನ್ಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಇನ್ಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆದಂಗೂ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ನ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ. ಇಫ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಈಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಟು -1, that indicates that there are no values stored in the memory block. Okay, top -1 ನಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ -1 ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಯಾವ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಏನು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. If there are no elements or values which are stored in the stack is considered as empty stack. Okay, remember, stack will be considered as empty stack. No values in the stack, so it is considered as empty stack. Okay, so this is how top variable plays a major role in stacks. Okay, so here, so 17 ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆದಾಗ ಟಾಪ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ? 0 ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 0ಗೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಲೈನ್ ಇಂದ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಫ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ 18, ಟಾಪ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು 1. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಟು 1. ಸಿ, ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಗೆ ಬರ್ದಿರೋದು. ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ತರ ಏನೂ ಆಗ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಅವರ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್. ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಟಾಪ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ in this line we take it as a reference value of top, stack of top ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಟಾಪ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಯಾವ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ರೀಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. 0 ಇದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ 0 ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 1 ಇದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ 1 ಆ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ತರ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, see, once top reaches this particular index value, if I again write top plus plus, the value of top becomes 5, but there is no index value called as 5 here. So there is a limitation which I have to consider while adding the values in the stack. Stack ಒಳಗಡೆ values add ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಒಂದು ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇಲ್ವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಟಾಪ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 5 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಟಾಪ್ 4 ಇಂದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 5ಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಯು ಮೇ ಗೆಟ್ ಎರರ್. ಸೊ you should be careful while storing the values and while incrementing top. It has to be incremented up to a particular index value. Beyond that, you cannot increment top. Okay, but because you cannot store anything beyond that particular memory block, that's why. Okay, so this is what stack is, and this is what top variable is, and this is why we use top variable within stacks, and that is a major reason of using top variable in stacks. So remember, ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ -1 ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಟಾಪ್ ಈಗ ಯಾವ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಗೂ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಅವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರಲ್ಲ, ಅವಾಗ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ನ ಎಂಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಅ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಟಾಪ್. ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ಟಾಪ್ ನ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ -1 ಗೆ ಅಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ವೈ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ initially there will be no values, within the stack. If there are no values within the stack, top will be always having the value -1. How to store the value within the stack? Create a variable. Okay, ask the user to enter some value, user will enter that value, you read that and store that value in that particular variable. Then increment the value of the top na increment ಮಾಡಿ top na index value ಗೆ refer ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಈ array ಗೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. stack of top equals element ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, such that element will be stored in the stack. So this is how and this is why we use stacks. This is the very basic version of stack, where we have discussed how to represent stacks, why top variable plays an important role in stacks, and how top variable can be used within stacks. Okay, so see, this is also a stack here. Okay, when we store 17 in this stack, top will be pointing to 0. When I store 18, top will be pointing to 1. When I store 26, top will be pointing to 2. When I store 27, top will be pointing to 3. When I store 7, top will be pointing to 4. Beyond this, I cannot store anything. So even if I write top plus plus, value of top becomes 5. It tries to find the index value called as 5 here, but it cannot find because size of this stack is 5 itself, 5 memory blocks. Okay, so now by mistake sometimes what we are going to do is we keep on incrementing top even after the last index value. Top na increment ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. That should not happen. Okay, so we have to have a knowledge of two very important concepts. One is stack is full. Another one is stack is empty. Okay, top value -1 idre stack empty ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. Okay, top value -1 ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ stack empty ಅಂದ್ರೆ stack ಒಳಗಡೆ ಯಾವ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ. stack full ಅಂತ ಯಾವಾಗ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? when do you say stack is full? See, when last element is added in the stack, top will be pointing to the last index value. You can take it as a clue. When do you say stack is full? See, whenever top is pointing to the last index value of the stack, then we can say that stack is full. You cannot store any value beyond that. Okay, so that is how we consider two important concepts of stacks. One is stack full, another one is stack empty. So this is about stacks in data structures. Okay, this is what stacks are in data structures. Because of some reasons, I could not take classes in the previous two or 3 days, so I'll be covering that by taking extra classes. And don't worry, I will not skip any concepts first of all, and I will not just skip the concepts of urgent alla maad mugsala concepts na syllabus na. I'll take a lot of time to cover everything which is there in the syllabus. Only thing is be regular to the classes. From now onwards, we'll learn many new things about data structures. That's why I'll try to write code from now onwards online and explain you how it works. Okay, so this is about today's class. We have discussed stacks. Hope you have understood. You people have understood the concepts. Even if you have not understood, do let me know. You people have my number. Just do let me know what concepts you have not understood, or you can leave it in chat box. That is not a problem. Okay, so don't hesitate to tell me that you have not understood a particular concept or you have not understood anything. Okay, so let's start the today's class. Just enter your name and your son. Have a great day. Thank you.